Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Grief and Joy Barn Studio. I'm Mindy Seifert, founder of Grief and Joy. Tonight, we have a very special guest here with us who is going to share with us a little bit about what nobody tells you about being an empty nester. Tonight, I have my niece, Amanda, with me. Amanda, I've known you since you were born. We go way back.
That's true.
Thank you so much for joining us. And tell me a little bit about you, your family, and your daughter.
Sure. So my husband and I, Kevin, have one daughter. She is 19. Recently moved out of the house within the last 18 months. And we went through a lot over the last several years. Derecho, COVID, all of the things, built a new house out in Benton County. And now we're living the good life, right? She's out of the house and we're moving on.
Okay. Which I'm super excited to hear about some of that phase
Yep.
of the moving on. But before we get there, tell me a little bit more about Ava. What makes her special to you?
Well, I like to tell her that she's my favorite child because she's obviously our only child. But I think one of the things that's really special about Ava is, well, first she's very much like her father, very mini-me of him.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting because she is her own person, you know. She loves art. She loves um, a certain dynamic or generational gap of people, just like her dad loves young people, loves senior people as well. Everybody else in between is a little bit harder to get along with for both of them.
Yep. She
Um,
might also get that from her Uncle Todd.
could be, yeah.
Yep.
She's very sarcastic, but also very sweet and just has a very big heart.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your relationship while she was still in the nest. Like, how was that? Typical
Um,
teenager stuff. Like, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I would say, I mean, going way back, you know, she has always been kind of an introverted person, and I've always been extroverted. So we tended to clash a little bit as she was growing up. Teenage years are tough. Uh, you know, they're trying to discover themselves, figure out where they're headed, push back boundaries, all of that. But I do feel like as things have progressed, our relationship has evolved. And rightfully so. I mean,
Sure.
that happens as you mature.
Absolutely. So when did you realize that you for sure were going to be an empty nester? Because, like with many of us with children, you never know for sure when they're going to leave. You never know if they're going to come back. So when did you know for sure?
Well, she was graduating early, and her boyfriend had graduated ahead of her. So he had already established an apartment, and she was adamant that she was going to move out as soon as she was done, and they were going to move in together. And, you know, of course, as a parent, I have a lot of hesitations about all of those things, right? Big world bills and just all the things that come with that, and of course, relationships and whatnot. But she really wanted to do it, so supportive of her. And when it kind of push came to shove after she got done in the middle of the year, she was like, I'm packing up and I'm going. And at that point, I was kind of like, all right, this is real now, right? She was trying to figure out if she really did want to go to school or if she wanted to follow something else or just work full time. And she decided at that point she wanted to work full time. So, you know, she had a plan. She put some things in place and at least had a strategy of what she was going to do, which is why I was like, yeah, okay. Um, it happened faster than I thought it would.
Yeah. And she has not returned,
No,
correct? Okay.
no.
So that's also,
Yeah, she's successfully adulting.
yeah, that's to be admired because, again, I know a lot of people with young adults in their lives who come and go. So
Yep.
that's fantastic. So, as as you were approaching that time of her leaving, were you excited? Were you sad? A little bit of everything? Or how were you feeling?
I kind of went back to a time in my life when I was ready to go, right, and leave the house. And I thought about some of those challenges that I had faced where I still needed assistance, right? When your parenting doesn't end just because they leave the house. But I found myself thinking about, things I might have done a little bit differently, said a little bit differently. Um, I was excited for her. I think that we have this challenge, right, as we're trying to raise tiny humans to be adults and be successful and be themselves and productive in society. And so you spend a lot of time teaching them all of those things. And then it comes to the point where they're ready to find their wings or they're ready to fly. And you find yourself kind of going backwards a little bit, but also excited for them. So a little bit of both, I think.
Yeah. Um, you said something there that reminded me, but I think I was planning on asking you this question towards the end, but since you brought it up, is there something that you wish you would have taught her sooner that maybe you forgot? Have you realized any of those things that have come up?
One major thing, I wish I would have spent more time talking with her about building credit and things like that. You spend a lot of time talking about being responsible, being accountable, um, making good choices,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. We talked a lot about savings and what to save for, how to strategize, like bill budgeting and things like that. But we never really had a good discussion about building credit and what credit was and why it's important as an adult. And so we've had some of those recent discussions as she's been out of the house. But I wish I would have spent more time in her high school years helping her establish that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Hunter and Dylan, we've been having some of those same conversations, and they're a few years older than Ava. But like at the time, I was like, should I have them get a credit card? Would
Mm-hmm.
that have been the right decision? We didn't do that, but that was one thing that I actually thought about later was like, maybe we should have done that much earlier. But
Yeah.
um, all right, so let's talk a little bit about your expectations versus reality around empty nesting. So, what did you think it was going to be like?
I thought it was going to be glorious.
Okay.
I thought, oh, I'm going to have so much time. And, you know, I remember being younger and just going out a lot and being involved in lots of different things. And I thought, yep, that's how things are going to be, right? And I think as she was growing up, I didn't realize how much maturing I was doing as well. And now I find myself, yeah, absolutely having much more time on my hands, but enjoying much simpler things.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that's unexpected for me.
Okay. I can totally appreciate that. Has anything changed with your relationship, from when she was there versus when she moved out? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Um, yeah, well, like I mentioned, it's definitely still evolving, and I think it will. Um, she, I think, realizes how much more she can depend on us. She visits us, comes over for lunch. I guess it's much more planned, and less spontaneous. When she was growing up, especially as she was driving in high school, I didn't really know when she was going to be home. A lot of the time she had different stuff going on, work, school events, or whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
she kind of came and went, and I didn't always know what her schedule was like. Now, I think it is a lot more planned. It's not like kind of as spontaneous as that. But I do feel like there's a stronger connection there. We can have more mature conversations. Last weekend, she messaged me and was like, "Hey, are you home? It's a Friday night." I said, "No, actually, we're out. We're gone." oh, I was bored, So I think she is, kind of enjoying that adult relationship as well.
Absolutely. As you know, as we talked about, my business is called Grief and Joy. So I always like to chat a little bit about how grief and joy plays into some of these life transitions like empty nesting. So thinking back, was there any grief that hit you after you became an empty nester?
Oh yeah, and it still does. I think about part of part of a part of the fun things about social media is it shows you all of your memories, right?
Yep.
So as you're looking through daily reminders, those moments pop up, funny videos, pictures, things like that. And just for a moment, I kind of go back in that and think, gosh, I wish I had more time during that time frame. Like I hadn't worked as much, or I hadn't, I had made different choices, or whatever the case is. But I do find a smidge of joy also sharing those with Ava and reminding her, like, hey, do you remember when?
Yep.
Or showing her some funny things that maybe she hadn't seen in years and years of Facebook before she, ventured on.
Yep. I do the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
I share those same memories with Hunter and Dylan when I see them come up, because that is one of the best things for sure. So you already mentioned you thought it was going to be glorious. I think that was the word you used, which seems very joyful.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about that. What was that gloriousness like?
Yeah.
What made it so perfect?
Well, now so all the things that I didn't have time for previously, like this year was the first time we planted a garden since Ava was probably in grade school. And I have so much produce and so much time on my hands now that I decided to start canning, which I have never done before.
Yep, learning new skills. Love that.
Yep. And as I told Kevin the other night, I have no idea what I'm doing with canning, but I know I'm doing it really, really well. Parks and Rec reference there.
Okay.
But yeah,
I can actually confirm for you, I tried your pickles today and they were actually delicious.
So good.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else about, besides the learning some new skills, having some more time on your hand, anything else that you can think of that has changed? That's joyful.
That's joyful. Well, one of the reasons that I wanted to do this, and I don't know if you remember me telling you this, but one of the reasons I wanted to do this was I had kind of this aha moment where, if I think back to when I was pregnant with her, and you spend so much time planning and just getting ready to bring a child home, right? And I remember bringing her home after all of that, all of the months of planning, the hospital and whatnot, and sitting down on the couch, and she was sleeping, and I was just thinking, what now? Like, what do we do now?
What do we do with this little thing?
Yeah. And that week after she moved out felt very much like that. You spend so much time planning and, just again, trying to raise someone to be successful in the adult world, and feeling like I was just done with it. And then kind of this realization afterwards that it doesn't end.
Right.
It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me joy, because now, instead of feeling like I'm needed 24 hours a day, I just get calls when I'm needed.
Yes.
So that makes
or
me
text
happy.
messages if you're lucky.
Yes.
I totally get that, which is also a good kind of transition for us to talk a little bit about, you as a person, kind of the identity shift that I think parents in general all go through it, but mothers, I think, probably have a specific challenge sometimes. But did you was there a piece of being a mother that you felt like was gone at first and that you were going to have to figure out where that was coming back, or just how did you feel your identity shift as she left?
Uh, I think Kevin and I, we um, we spend a lot more time communicating individually. I don't feel like things have necessarily changed from a parent strategy, or my motherhood has changed in any way, except I have a lot less cups and spoons missing and things
Yep.
like that.
Yep, that was one of the things I thought you might say about the joy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's the same food is usually there that you're expecting to be
We
there.
eat a lot less snacks.
Yep.
That's actually one of the things that she complains about when she comes by now.
Not enough snacks in the house?
Nope, not
Okay.
enough snacks. So subtle changes, but
Okay. Um, besides canning, is there anything else exciting that's a part of like your future right now? What you guys are working towards?
yes. So we have had some really in-depth conversations about what we want to do going forward, where we want to be, as she is transitioning and figuring out what her future family looks like on her own. And we decided that we ultimately want to be in a different location than we're at right now. So we just purchased some land up north.
Okay, that's
And we're
exciting.
starting the planning process of what does that look like for us? And is this where we want to retire? And it's just bare land right now. So the sky's the limit. Nothing's off the table.
Yeah, but that's a big transition for sure.
Yes.
So you mentioned Kevin a couple times. So
Yep.
let's talk about just what empty nesting has how that's changed your relationship, if at all. You mentioned the communication, but yeah.
So he is my canning partner. He actually has enjoyed it. He's been doing a lot of prep and lots of different things. We work on projects pretty well together, and I think that makes a big difference. We always have, but now I think they're on a much bigger scale.
Yep.
And when you're not, kind of constantly being integrated with different questions and, hey, mom, I need this or I need that, we spend a lot more time together. That has been, it's been interesting. We both work at home too. He has his own business and I have an office in my home. And so we spend a lot of the time almost kind of running into each other as things are passing through. Hey, I am on lunch. Hey, I'm running here. I'm doing this. But it's been fun. And I think we'll probably still find some new hobbies yet for both of us to enjoy.
Okay. And I know Kevin's not here to answer this question directly, but do you feel like this transition was different for him than for you with having Ava leave the house?
I don't know the answer to that, and I'd be hard pressed to do so. His feelings are probably similar to mine. They have a very close relationship that's different, dad and daughter, right, versus mom and daughter. I think it's very unique, and they still have their own separate conversations, even outside of me today. So I'm sure he's got different feelings on it, but I don't know. I think I'd be hard pressed to say exactly what those are.
Gotcha. All right, so you mentioned, let's talk a little bit about just Ava's, you know, her adulting at this point. So, what have been some of the challenges that she has brought back to you guys for support?
Anything grocery related. No, she asks for help when she needs it, and a lot of times when she first moved out of the house, and we would spend time talking about budgeting and paying for different things. And when you're at that point, I don't think she was working quite full time yet, so it was a little harder. She comes to us for some advice on how to handle different things with lease agreements. That came up this year. Of course, rent went up, different things came up. Um, normal things like that. I mean, she's done pretty well figuring those things out, but also being able to depend on us for some advice. Not that she'll always take it, which I am happy to give out, and say, hey, this might be the outcome if you don't, at least advising her if she doesn't. But she's come back to us pretty frequently for quite a few different things.
Okay. This is a question that I know in some of with my friends has come up a lot. How do you handle things like vacations as your children get older? Do you continue to pay for those? Do you continue to do family vacations once they're out of the nest, or how have you guys decided to handle that?
When we plan vacations together as a family, we take care of vacations. I think it's important for her to get out of our comfort zone where we're always at in Iowa, in the same location. And so when we travel and see new things, I don't want her to have to worry about having to pay for it, how I'm going to get there. They already have to take time off work. They already have to figure out, well, in her case, she has dog sitting and, things like that. So we do take care of a lot of it. Extra things that you want to get and buy, like souvenirs, she takes on her own. But primarily when we go together, and we try to go someplace at least once a year, we take care of that for her. I think it's just something nice. I remember being her age and just not having those extra funds to do those things. And it's nice to be able to give that to her and give that experience to her.
But I do think you guys are also taking some of your own vacations too. So,
oh, yes.
Yeah. So
yeah,
maybe like one family vacation, and then you guys are also doing your own vacations.
Because it's just important. It's as important for us to do things on our own.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. You mentioned that your relationship is maybe a little more planned at this point, where when Ava comes, or when you guys get to see each other. As a part of that, have you learned any or set any new boundaries for yourself as a parent? Like, have you changed anything about how you do things? Do you show up at their house or their apartment without telling them they were coming?
No. So because we live in the country, and I don't drive into Cedar Rapids as often. Usually when I go into Cedar Rapids and I'm going to go do some shopping or something, I'll usually connect with her and say, hey, are you going to be home, or do you want to come with me? I'm going to do these things. She works nearby our house, so she stops by a little bit more frequently, but always gives us a heads up. A lot of times I might be in meetings as I'm working throughout the week. And then I think there's just some occasions where it's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a week or so. What are you doing for supper on Sunday? And Kevin's really good about, he does all the cooking at our house, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's nice.
So he's really good about reaching out to say, hey, here's what I'm making Sunday afternoon. And then they'll come out for supper.
Okay, awesome. All right, so let's look back to like maybe 6 months before Ava moved out. And of course, knowing now what you know, what would you tell yourself? Is there anything that you would tell yourself if you had to a redo on this whole empty nesting thing?
It's going to be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things that Ava and I talked about at some point after she moved out, but also had me thinking about prior to that, is that this is my first time as a parent. It's my first time on the planet too. And so everything will be fine, right? It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to grieve about maybe some challenges that you had previously, but it will evolve and it will work out. And it has,
Cool. One of the things that I was thinking about is, because you mentioned, back when you brought Ava home from the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole book about what to expect when you're expecting. That was like when I was expecting, that was like all the rage for us, new moms to be. There is nothing really that I'm aware of like that so much about empty nesting, or at least not that people have like, not that's become widely popular anyway. Uh, but what do you wish someone would have told you about the empty nesting process if you would have had a resource like that?
Maybe just to be available and open-minded. There's been quite a few times where she's surprised me with her level of responsibility. I also sometimes get phone calls or messages like, hey, I'm going to get a tattoo today. And then a month later, hey, I'm going to get another tattoo today. And then another, hey, I think I'm going to schedule another tattoo, right? And so those things kind of add up. So going back to before, she left the house, I don't know that there's any one piece of advice other than just, again, it will kind of just work itself out and be open to they're finding themselves. They're adulting for real.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys were obviously, as we discussed, have just one child. Do you think, is there anything specific that you would have for other people who only have a single child, going through this phase? Do you feel like there's something unique to that, or just that you want to share with anybody?
That only have one child like I do? Well, you had a shot at it. And if they moved out of the house and they're doing all right, you did all right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you only get one chance at it.
Yeah.
So, yep. I had two, but they left at the same time. So I kind of felt like the same thing.
I feel like they're doing all right.
Yeah. One and done. So we always like to close with a what nobody tells you question. So what's one thing that you feel like nobody tells you about becoming an empty nester?
That you'll miss having, I think probably most people know you're going to miss having them at home, but you'll miss the small things. Having them home for supper multiple days a week, or, even just picking up towels out of their bathroom and throwing them in. Like just those extra things that seem heavy at the time, you still miss them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes just the noise, even if it was like fighting for us, or video games or whatever, just having that like buzz in the house, I felt like was, when it was gone, you're like, oh, I missed that. But
yeah, it's very quiet.
yes. All right. So one of the things I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you the official empty nester
Oh, perfect.
parting gift for
Thank
tonight.
you.
My other two guests, they received their gift prior to the interview. So tonight you get to receive yours while we're here.
Okay.
But one of the things that we're doing with all of our guests is if you feel like there's a reason to come back in the future as you continue to evolve this empty nester journey, like you shared, you have a lot going on with purchasing a new property and trying to figure out what that's going to look like. And not that that's directly tied to empty nesting, but it is part of building that next phase of your life. We'd love to have you back if you are willing to join us. So you can let us know if and when you want to do that. But we thank you so much for coming tonight and sharing your empty nester story with us and all of our fans. And thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next time in the Grief and Joy Barn Studio.